Hello, and welcome to Young and Invested, proudly brought to you by Enterprise Trustees. This is a session that is designed for young adults and students that is supposed to help you, where we have realistic conversations about money and your lifestyles to maximize the opportunities around you for a financially sound future. Today, we'll be discussing the topic, corporate career or entrepreneurship, decoding your path to success. And I have some wonderful people here with me to have this conversation. My name is Doreen, and I'm joined here today by...
My name is Derek Edu. I'm also known as Andante.
And I'm Nana Henkanyajiman.
Okay, before we delve deep into the conversation, if you are not following us on social media, please do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn at Enterprise Trustees. This is your cue. Please hit the follow button now. So let's dive deep into our conversation. What are the primary differences between pursuing entrepreneurship and a corporate career?
Yeah, Doreen, so when I was coming, I was like, okay, who is really an entrepreneur?
Okay.
And I found out that an entrepreneur is someone who takes up a business venture with the hope of making profits. So all the risks involved are all based on hope. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you take up you have an idea, you build it
the word is hope.
The word is hope. So as an entrepreneur, it's all about risk taking.
Yeah.
Okay, that is one of the major, one of the key defining aspects of an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. You have to take up risk and then hope that risk will give you profit. Other than being in the corporate structure where everything there is a well laid down principle. You know that these are the benefits, this is the salary you are going to get. All of these things are spelled out before you even take up the job. Mm-hmm. But it's not all honey and milk when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, as Derek rightly said, with entrepreneurship, you would have to decide to take a risk to venture into entrepreneurship. So the difference between entrepreneurship and corporate world is not really that wide. There's a thin line between them in the sense that with entrepreneurship, there isn't much stability in finance as it is in the corporate world. With the corporate world, you know that at the end of the day, you have this amount of money that you can take home. Mm-hmm. But with entrepreneurship, there isn't such an assurance, especially when you are a startup. This month, you might get 2,000 Ghana cedis. The next month, you might be at minus 5,000 Ghana cedis. Another month, you might have a bumper harvest. But there isn't much of a stability when it comes to finances and even in decision making. Entrepreneurship, you can decide to make your decision what you do, where you do it, how you do it. But in the corporate world, your job description is defined. You have someone to report to. There's a way you have to do it. There's a formula you have to follow. So these are some of the little differences I would say that are between being an entrepreneur and also being in the corporate world.
But talking about flexibility, now we have people can work from home. You have flexi hours and stuff like that. So the career people too are getting a little bit of flexibility around.
Not that much. You will still need an approval from someone. Okay. Someone decides whether you are fit to work from home or you have to come into the office. Okay. So there's still, you need a higher, yes.
So the guests at the top have
to decide.
Yeah, before you have the idea, how about the idea that you want to work from home? Yeah. Someone needs to decide. And you see, she was talking about flexibility. I once saw a video of Jeff Bezos, Amazon CEO. He was talking about how he definitely intentionally apportions his time to have some of he takes the critical decisions of his business around 10 a.m. Okay, so when it's 10 a.m., that's when he takes the challenging decisions. But the other ones, like mundane activities, he takes it in the evening because that one doesn't really require critical thinking. So that's how, but if you are in a corporate structure, and let's say he was not the entrepreneur, he doesn't have the luxury to decide that this is when and how I want to
your boss can just come and say, Charlie, give me this idea,
and I need it at this time. You can't tell your boss that, look, I am much active around 10 a.m. Your sack letter is waiting for you. So, basically, that is how the whole thing operates when it comes to entrepreneurship. But I think that you being in the corporate structure and some of us also being from the entrepreneurship side of things, there are some skills and qualities that separates these two entities. What are some of the skills that one would need to be an entrepreneur and one would need to be in the corporate world?
For me, I think that for you to be an entrepreneur, you need to be self-motivated. and to be resilient, because you can go from 100 to 0 like in a minute. So you have to really be resilient. Try as much as possible that when I fall, I will rise. Self-motivation, because there are so many things that will bring you down. I remember when I was in University of Ghana and I had this idea that I didn't want to work for anybody when I come out of school, and I wanted to start something on my own. So I wanted to start selling something so that I can scale up when I get out of school. And I started that time. I remember very well. I went to Ivandi. The first time I was going to sell, I went to Ivandi hostel, and I was knocking on doors the way people have been knocking on doors to sell.
Very
and
annoying.
the first, it was very annoying. I did not see it like that. So I was like, okay, now I'm at the other side. So the first person, when I knocked on the door, and the way the girl came out and she looked at me from top to bottom, my confidence level just shot.
The entrepreneurship just vanished from your eyes.
I'm telling you. When I went back to my host, I was like, I'm not doing this again. Because I nearly told her, I'm a student too, right? Like, I'm just doing this for the side. But I think you really have to be self-motivated before you can say you're an entrepreneur. Because there are certain things, if you are not motivated, you easily just go back like that. Yeah.
As Derek said, entrepreneurship is hoping to make income. So you need to be able to take risks. I remember I also have a story like that, but a little quite different. After I completed school, I'm a trained physician assistant. I decided, no, I want to focus on building my business. So I had to decide whether I would follow the traditional way of going to school, having good grades, and getting a job, becoming a physician assistant, scaling up to becoming a doctor, or following my dreams. And it was a big decision I had to take, because I had to leave the house. I'm now grown, I have to leave the house. Do I decide to apply for a job to become a physician assistant, or follow a dream in hopes of making money out of it?
The hope.
So the biggest quality I believe you need to have is the ability to decide and take a risk. You need the ability to put your foot forward first is everything. So if you are unable to even start to build on your idea, how do you even hope of getting money out of it? So that is a quality I believe. If you do not have that quality, you wouldn't last long in the entrepreneurship journey.
But I think that for a career-wise too, you have to have the willingness to work in a team. If you say you want to have a corporate career, you have to have the willingness to work in a team.
Definitely.
You can't say you are solo, because you are working in at the office with people. You just can't come, not greet anybody, go to your desk, work by yourself every day. No, you won't succeed in the corporate world when you are like that. So the ability to be able to work in a team is also something I feel that is distinct when it comes to entrepreneurship and a corporate career.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe you are a corporate person, and Derek is also an entrepreneur. What do you think is influenced your decision on deciding to become a corporate person, and why did you not decide to become an entrepreneur?
Honestly, for me, it was not really about, Charlie, you have the choice or something. It's like, well, your parents are steady, get good grades, finish and get a good job. That was the kind of orientation that we had been given. So it's like you're following a certain path. For people who I know have become entrepreneurs, later in life, when we're students or when we come out and some of them are not getting jobs, that's when they decide that let me do my own thing.
Yes.
So sometimes it's as a result of not really getting a job. But for me, it was like, hey, you have to get a job in the corporate field or nothing else, because people are waiting on you to get that first salary to also give them some. Yeah. So you cannot decide that I want to do entrepreneurship and now be hustling 3 years down the line, you are still hustling. No. So it was not really something of a choice for me. Yes. I just found myself that I have to follow what I've been asked to follow. Yeah.
Mine is quite a long story, but I'll try and make it short. So it's my parents are traders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they wanted me to be in the white collar. I was a trained physician assistant myself, but from junior high, they started taking me through. My sister, I would just follow my sister to do selling, like we'll be selling packs. And at that time, it was very difficult for me because puberty was hitting in and I was shy. For the girls who see you running away. So I was so uncomfortable with it. But I still through. Then from SHS, when during vacation, I'll go and visit my brother at Swami Magazine. We are in Kumasi. So I visit my brother in Swami Magazine, help him with the shop. He will send me on errands, get to know how the engine, the spare parts industry works and all that. So I got a taste for it. Then after SHS, I was introduced to one senior who wanted to start a website for the old student fraternity. So he sent me that, okay, I have to be the administrator for the website. That is how it started. So I was sent to corporate institutions. I'll come to this institution. If it is headed by an old student, a Prempeh College old student, I'll talk to him. This is what you are doing. This is a website for the old student, but we will need you to be on board. We will need you to advertise on the website. So getting to understand how, having an idea, how the idea can fetch money for you, how it is interconnected. I think it became fascinating to me. So in tertiary, that was when I decided to train. That was when I was training as a physician assistant. And to pass out as a physician assistant, you need to write a license exams. And the failure rate is so high. People are attempting it more than three times. And it is a whole new depression on its own. So when I was in second year, then that was when the government allowance was coming in. So I'll use my allowance to create a website. The website was called HSA Ghana. Now it's not done. If you want to go and search it, you won't find it. It's not there. So we use the website HSA Ghana, and then we put questions on the website. People will have access to the questions. Other people will also pay for premium services. That's when my team and I will teach them, have one-on-one lessons with them, and then it fetched us some money in the first year. The second year, everyone was busy and then the business collapsed. So that is how I birthed the idea. So it was more of a trend. It was a progress.
Great. It's interesting.
For me, entrepreneurship met me on the way. I never set out to become an entrepreneur or something. Growing up, I wanted to become a doctor. It got to a point I wanted to become a journalist. It got to a point I wanted... It was a series of corporate works or something, but I never decided I want to become an entrepreneur or I want to be focused in the corporate world. I went into pageantry during university. Then I realized that before I entered the pageant, I needed some people to help me. What am I supposed to do? What am I not supposed to do? And it was very difficult getting people to help groom me for the pageant. So even though I sailed through the pageants, I decided that now I've participated in more than 4 pageants. I have the ideas, I have the experience. Why don't I also set up something to help people who would also need my services like the way I needed services when I was starting out? And at the end of the day, you come, I train you, I take a little bit from you, then it goes on from there. So that is how I started with my entrepreneurship journey. So it was just the passion to help people and also solve problems and also solve my financial problems too.
Great.
So it wasn't a set out thing. It just happened
along
yes,
the
I
way.
found myself there.
Great. Okay. So how does job security and career stability compare between entrepreneurship and corporate careers?
Yeah, it comes back to the hope. So entrepreneurship is all about hope. But with the corporate structure, everything is well defined. You know what you're going to get at the end of the day. But when I was in junior high school, there used to be this popular saying by one of the teachers that, me, I can beat you. If I beat you and then they sack me, Abaye Juma, you transfer me. Like they were that sure that they're going to get transferred, especially those in the government sector. They are so confident that their job is secure for them. Even if they mess up, they are not going to lose their job. They are going to be transferred. So that job security is there for you. You can't be an entrepreneur and come and tell me, I can do anything I want to. The money will come. It won't come. Yeah. So the job security and everything, the stability with the entrepreneurship field, it is not really a sure banker as compared to the corporate structure. All you need to do in the corporate structure is follow the rules and regulations, work hard. The money will definitely come. Your salary is going to come. Your benefits, your SNIT benefits are due you, but it's not really like that when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yeah.
But I realize that for career progression, for instance, sometimes it can stall when you are in a corporate career, because for entrepreneurs, so far as you succeed, you are sure to get your returns. But for being in corporate, sometimes you can be in one position without promotion or getting ahead so fast as you would have imagined it. So sometimes I feel that for career stability, sometimes it's a little bit shaky. You can be in the job, but in terms of progression, I don't really, it's not a sure banker when you are in the field of career.
So when it comes to progress, both are on hope. Is that not it?
I think so, yes.
Right.
Because even in entrepreneurship, you're also hoping that your business will reach wider audience.
Exactly.
So it's just like stepping up in your career path. With an entrepreneur, you also need to step up when it comes to reaching more clients, making more sales and all that. So they are all not that stable.
Yes. It comes in. So we'll be going for the tweets of the day where we share financial advice. We'll be right back.
Risk and hope and all that. I mean, we've established that risk is really involved. Now, how does risk factor into the influence of choosing the entrepreneurship side or venturing into a corporate organization?
I believe it plays a very important role in the sense that high risks, high results. So as an entrepreneur, if you want to make it big, have more sales, have more reach, have more clients, you need to put in more effort. It could be in terms of investment. It could be in terms of sacrificing your corporate job, deciding to leave the corporate world and focusing on your entrepreneurship journey. It could be deciding to spend less time with your family and more time with your business. So it's a whole lot of risks involved that you have to decide to play. And the more you put in, the more results you get. But it's not assured. That is why it's called a risk. Even though you are going to decide to quit your corporate job, what shows that your entrepreneurship journey is going to be successful? So the more you put in, the more you get. If you decide to just do it anyhow, definitely that's the same results you are going to get. So you want to hit big, you put in more effort.
I really think that, seriously, if you don't have a high risk appetite, entrepreneurship is not for you.
Not at all.
Because it's not setting, and the risks, every risk is on you as an entrepreneur to succeed. In corporate, you would not, because you don't have that risk that when I fail in this tax, it's on me. You are looking up to somebody to pay you every month. So that risk of where am I getting money from next month to pay my workers and all that is not on you. So that risk is pretty low when you talk about corporate. But as an entrepreneur, you have to have a high risk appetite. Yeah,
that's definitely true. And in the corporate world, you can't use your business, the company's business, to take a risk or to decide to invest in something.
Your boss will even shoot you down before you even bring it up.
You don't really have much to juggle when it comes to the corporate world. Yes. Have you ever decided or taken a big risk in your life towards either your corporate journey or your entrepreneurship journey, and how did it turn out?
Well, I have... It's funny, right? Because most of the situations, the risks I took, not all of them turned out very well. You know, starting as an entrepreneur in graduate and undergraduate entrepreneur, where the little allowance that you are being given by the government, instead of using it for something else, you say, oh, you have a business idea, let me just invest in it. There were times I would tell a friend, okay, one of my friends currently in the UK, Biggie. Shout out to Biggie. So, so there are times I had to tell Biggie, look, this is what I'm doing. I need you to help me so that I'll be able to renew the domain. And he will give me his money. And it will be on assurance that when the allowance comes, I'll pay him. So the allowance will come. The money, I didn't get return of that investment. And the allowance came, I had to give it back to who? Biggie. So I got nothing. So at that time, it was very difficult for me because I mean, what at all am I even... I used to ask myself, why am I even stressing myself? Because I wasn't getting anything from it. Then, when I decided to venture into the event industry, being the event technology industry, we invested in an event, a pageant. We thought, okay, I think it's everything. The whole idea from idea stage to project execution, it checked every box. So we were expecting somewhere around, let's say, 30,000 Ghana cedis within some few weeks. but we got negative 30,000 Ghana cedis, right? So it was a very huge risk that we were taking, and that was when we were starting this whole event industry thing, because we were novices in it. My team and I were very new in it. It almost shut us down, but we were able to recover, and now I would say it has plateaued. It is okay now. Yeah.
But I also think that for career-wise, the risk comes in sometimes when you are trying to switch jobs because you want a higher pay, a place with higher benefits. I remember when I was switching currently to where I am now, it was a risk I took because the role was not something that I was expecting to do. The role that was advertised was not in communications, and I'm in communications, but I was like, hey, I'm just looking for something different to do, so I want to switch. So imagine if I had taken that risk and it had not panned out the way. When I went for the interview, after the interview, they called me and they were like, hey, we realize that you're a comms person, so we rather want you to come and do comms with us and not the role that you advertise. I mean, that was pure luck on my part, but someone else could have taken that risk and it would not have ended well. Yes. There could be that you will not succeed in the new role that you are going to do. So it's a huge risk. I know people who have switched careers, gone on to new organizations, and the organization is not what they thought it would be. Sometimes the salary does not come on time. There was so much politics in the organization, and some of them were even kicked out finally in the organization because someone somewhere felt you should not be the one to have that position. So the risks, it's everywhere, but it depends on the level of risks. Yeah.
Okay, I will also share mine. As an entrepreneur, I felt at a point that there should be a lot of streams of incomes, you understand. It shouldn't just be from your business and all that. The risk is too much. The pressure coming is too much. So I also decided to venture into corporate world for a little bit. But I still want to focus on my entrepreneurship, my businesses and all that. So I decided that even though I want to go into a corporate world, I can't do a 9 to 5, 5 days in a week, because there should still be time for my businesses. I went for an interview and I told them that I do not want to work from Monday to Friday. It's a corporate job. You have to work from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I want the job, and per my qualifications and the job description, that is the job I believe I can get as at the time I needed the job. But this is me sitting in the interview room telling people that I want to work at my own time and work at least 2 days or 3 days within the week. Asking them that was a big risk I was taking, because I knew I might qualify for the job. But if I decide to put it out there that I want to work 2 or 3 days and maybe from this time to that time, it might disqualify me. So it was the biggest risk I took in that point in my life. And
did you get it?
I got the job. I got the job, but I felt no, I shouldn't ever do this again.
Yeah, that's true. But talking about, the corporate world, the entrepreneurship world, if someone is watching us right now and the person is, okay, really, should I do this? The person is in a decision-making stage. What financial advice would you give to that person, whether to venture into the entrepreneurship or to be in the corporate organization?
I think that you should know yourself. You should know the kind of environment that you find yourself in. You might want to be an entrepreneur at a particular point in time. You might have the desire, you might have the passion, but probably the circumstances around you will not allow you currently to take up that, hey, I'm leaving my corporate job, or when I finish school, I want to be an entrepreneur. It might require that, Charlie, work for some 5 years, gather some money, or even make sure that your family is a little bit stable before you venture into saying that you are becoming an entrepreneur. Imagine, for example, a married man who says, I want to become an entrepreneur and stop. You don't have that luxury. So it's a personal situation. Yes. You need to understand the kind of environment that you come from and make that decision that, hey, this is a time that I can become an entrepreneur, or this. If you have the passion to have a corporate career, then I'm pushing my all in to ensure that I rise to the top.
Rightly said. Yeah. There are stages in your life that you can't decide to risk it all.
Yeah.
Even though you have to risk it at a point, there are stages. As a student, if you are in the university and you believe that you have a business idea you want to work on, I wouldn't advise you to quit school and go work. Someone will use the whole Mark Zuckerberg's idea, but this is like a 1 in a billion case study.
Exactly.
How many people in Ghana who quit school in the uni and they are like Mark Zuckerberg? It is a 1 in a billion kind of thing. So it's not advisable to decide to just quit school and decide to venture into entrepreneurship. And you can't quit school and even decide to go into the corporate world. It doesn't work that way. Or being in a corporate world, you believe, oh, I know how to bake. I want to focus on baking. Are you financially stable enough that if you start the baking now, in the next 6 to 1 year, if your baking business doesn't survive, can you still survive as a person without your baking business? If you can't do that in 6 months, in a year, you don't have the luxury of quitting your corporate job. I know a lady, a friend of mine, Essential Cosmetics. She has been a teacher for more than 10 years. She has a cosmetic business, but she was doing it as a side hustle. It got to a point she decided, no, I want to focus on my side hustle. So she decided that for the next 5 years in my teaching career, I'm going to make sure that I build myself, I save, I find networks. Then after 5 years, I decide to quit teaching. So she prepared herself for that. She didn't just decide one day to get up and say, no, I'm no more a teacher. I'm now an entrepreneur. I'm CEO of something. No. So you need proper planning. You need to survey. You need to understand where you are living and where you are jumping into. You just don't jump blindly. You would fail. No matter how big of a risk taker you are, how prepared you are, if you don't jump well, you will fail.
Yeah, and one advice is that, look, they always say, just do it, just start. But one thing that we fail to understand is it doesn't mean you shouldn't plan. You should always have a long-term plan. You need to make sure that you've looked at it. Sometimes it is good to plan, because there are times the plans will not work, but it is worse to start something without planning. Because at that, even if the plan is not working, at least you saw it coming. I mean, you saw that these are some of the, the pros and cons of it all. But if you do not plan, that means you are it's a recipe for disaster. In the health sector, they call it brought in dead or dead on arrival. So one thing I would always advise is that you need to sit down, plan it very well. And the start small thing that they talk about, it is not a joke. If they say you need to start small, yes, that is what your revenue or the funds available would allow. So you need to start with what you have. Someone who wants to enter into the digital content creating industry, most of them are advocating that you have a smartphone. What are you using the smartphone for? You can use a smartphone to start with content creation. You don't always need to wait till everything is set before you start creating.
So you can be like a side hustle.
Exactly.
If you find yourself in corporate, you can do it like a side hustle for some time.
Exactly.
Until you have the muscles.
Until you have the muscles to say, okay, I think right now I've grown enough bones. I can take this thing up head on. That is when you said, okay, fine, let me quit. And one more thing, this is very important. People who try to criticize the whole schooling system. The Portia talked about the Mark Zuckerberg example. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg Krawanko school. But this is someone who qualified for Harvard, right? I think he spent 1 year in Harvard or something.
Yeah.
So if someone qualifies to be a Harvard student, and you're telling me Wanko school, how did the person get to Harvard in the first place?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who use their 1 in a million scenario. Okay, this particular person in Ghana didn't go to school, but he's rich. But what about the other millions of people who did not go to school?
Yeah.
You've seen them around. How has life turned out for them? So the whole school is calm and this, and then please hold down on it. And just hold on to faith. Everything will just turn out well.
It's easier in our days now to start a business and maintain it than previously. Yes, but do you believe that there are some elements that you can inculcate, put together, and survive in the corporate world and also as an entrepreneur?
Yes, I think so. I think there are careers in corporate where, like, you are virtually an entrepreneur. You take an idea. There are people who are paid to just think, to innovate.
Project managers and all those people.
All those people. And they take an idea and they run with it. They've been given that freedom that you are thinking for a company. So all they come, you think they are playing, all they come to the company to just come and do when they come to work is just to sit and think, how can we make things different? And they are just running with ideas like that. So although that person is not working for themselves, they are virtually like working for themselves within an organization, because they've been given that freedom to think, to run with certain ideas and execute it. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we have I use examples of these people that we have, like the IT personnel who can work as freelancers. They would be working in this field, but they will be needed elsewhere. Even with the health sector, there are people who can take up the health fraternity. They will be they will be in a hospital, but they also have their own facility that they are running. Yeah, so the entrepreneurship and corporate structures, sometimes it can blend. Sometimes some people call it entrepreneurship, intrapreneurship. So there are avenues or opportunities for you to inculcate the corporate structure within your entrepreneurship drive. So you have, when the business has grown, you would be able to like ensure that the business has a tailored down structure that the business is following. So that is it.
Yes, I would also agree with all what you've been saying, because in the days that we are right now, it's easier for you to be an entrepreneur and also work in the corporate world. Let's say I work from home. I can also work on my business if I'm working from home, because I'm not needed in the office from 9 to 7. There was a point in my entrepreneurship career that I was also working as an executive assistant, online executive assistant for a corporate body. So even though I'm an entrepreneur, I also have the avenue to use my skills managing my own business, to manage someone's business online for them. The business that I'm doing now, I'm a special project coordinator for an NGO. My love for I'm also a founder of a foundation, so that is what I do. And I've been able to use the skills from that to become a project coordinator for another corporate body. So with the kind of businesses that we are having now, the kind of flexibility in the corporate world and also in the entrepreneurship world, you have to decide, know the skills you have. What can I use these skills to do in a corporate world? I could be a graphic designer, a freelance graphic designer. But we have most companies in Ghana and beyond that need graphic designing services. You can reach out to them, send your CV to them. You can become a 9-to-5 graphic designer for Enterprise Trustee, but you are also a freelance graphic designer as your own little business. So you have to know your skills, know where to place them, look for the right companies. You can't be a graphic designer and you're going to GASM to look for... It wouldn't work. So what skills do you have? Which corporate body needs those skills? Find a way to infuse it and you'll be good to go.
Great. So we have a question for our viewers. If you are watching us, we have a question for you. What are your biggest concerns when it comes to taking the path of being an entrepreneur or having a corporate career? We want to know. Please send your comments under our session. So we are going to have a tongue twister. We are all going to try it out. Our tongue twister challenge for the day is, I'm going to try to not bar in this one, but let me try. Frank found 5 funds for future financial freedom. I did well, yay.
Before we start, disclaimer, some of us are from Kumasi, so...
If you are talking to me, talk to me direct.
We need to be careful here.
Okay, so Portia, you go. Let's see.
Yeah, I have to think about it because my L and my R.
Okay. Frank found 5 funds for future financial freedom.
Yeah,
Okay.
The ladies are winning.
So here it is. Frank found 5 funds for future financial freedom.
No, faster.
Please, I beg.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you watched this, you can try out the tongue twister challenge and send us a video. Thank you so much for watching. And Young and Invested is proudly brought to you by Enterprise Trustees. Enterprise, your advantage.